when we give you the beans, we give you the beans in the form of the BEANS. The B is the basics, the E is enjoyment, the A is aesthetics, the N is the negatives, and then the S is the summary on our thoughts of the game. Wayne, what are the basics for Castle Combo?
The basics is you're going to be drafting cards. Not drafting. There's 2 rows of 3 cards that represent like nobles and like villagers, and you're selecting 1 row and you're paying for a card based on how much money you have, or you can use your keys to move to the next row down and pay for that. And you're building a 3x3 grid. Each of these cards have a cost value. So you're buying cards to fulfill a 3x3 grid, and each of these cards have a cost value. They have banners or pendants. And then they have either an immediate effect when you buy the card that either gets you more money or keys. And then there's sort of an end game scoring where it could be based on the number of the same banners in the row or column. There could be the same with the position of the card. And so it's a quick, in theory, it's a very quick game, 15-20 minute game where you're building this 3x3 grid, collecting keys and victory points based upon the placement of these cards. So that is the basics of Castle Combo. It is a pretty simple game. I think the complexity comes with the iconography and how you position the cards to make the best score.
Combos.
All
so
right,
there's the basics.
Let's get into the enjoyments of this game. I will qualify. I've only played BGA, so I've not had the opportunity to play this in person.
Me as well.
But y'all want to talk about some of the things you enjoyed in Castle Combo? I'll step off for this part of the conversation. No spoilers, but
yeah. Well, it's thinky. I know that's going to end up being one of Carlos's drawbacks, but it's thinky.
It is a little thinky.
Yeah. There's definitely a little bit of planning out your little 3x3 grid, because a lot of the cards will trigger depending on which row or which column in your grid you put them. So the cards around them, some will point left and right, some will point up and down. Some will just score for a certain number of this color shield or this color banner that's on the cards that you have in your whole tableau. But there's definitely some thought there. And it's a game where it's open information. You can see what all of your opponents are doing. So I enjoy the screw your neighbor part of it. A big surprise. Everybody loves that. But as much as I'm watching what I'm doing, I'm trying to look at what I'm leaving available for the next person. So do I want to leave the little meeple that goes back and forth between the rows? Do I want to leave it in a row that it is great for my opponent after I pick my card? Or if there's another card down in the other row that's going to work for me just as well, maybe I go ahead and pay a key, move it to that row, grab a card down there, make my opponent then use a key to move it back. Yeah. So there's definitely some jabbing back and forth in this game.
I ain't got time in a 20-minute game to be looking at 4 other people's I have never once looked at another person's little 3x3 grid. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. Like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
That'll be my that'll be in my negatives. For me, the enjoyment. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna end up being a little bit more like Carlos here. I like the game. Well, I'll save most of that for negatives. I do like the simplicity of a lot of the scoring. Now, once you get the iconography down, it is pretty easy, to figure out, how you can score points with the cards. There's some randomness there. You may not get the card you need. I think the most recent game I had a perfect card right in the middle where it was like all 4 directions. I need a certain banner, and I didn't get the banner. I couldn't find one, type thing. So it is simplistic. It is quick and easy to play. So that is an enjoyment for me. So even if the negatives that I'll talk about in a few minutes are mitigated because it's not like a 2-hour game. Like if this game was a 45-minute to an hour or 2-hour game, it would just be a bomb, right? Or a mess. But it's quick, so it's 20 minutes. So who cares, right?
Something else I like about it is each of the cards has kind of an immediate benefit. So above, there's kind of a middle section of the card and then a lower section of the card, and that first one is usually an immediate. So when you take it and you play it, you get some kind of something out of it. Sometimes it's an ongoing. It may give you a discount for the rest of the game on this type of card, or it might give you some coins or something. But then each one at the bottom has an in game. So you're kind of, as you're taking the cards, you're weighing that in mind as well. What's the immediate benefit? What's the in game thing that I'm going to try to score some points for later? So I like the kind of the multi parts of the card there, trying to figure out how to do what's good now or do what's good later.
Yep. Mike, anything else for this?
I mean, you guys pretty much nailed it for me. I mean, my favorite part of the game is the calculating, like, when to play a card and where to play it. You know, you may, because like you said, the instant bonuses that you get, sometimes it'll play off of other cards that you already have in play, and timing and placement for the cards that you already have and the new one that you're going to drop down. Not that I think there can be some AP with that, but I think this is more of a game like, give it a little bit of a thought and just take your move. Like, don't sit there and dwell over it. And I really do enjoy that part of it where you're just like, oh man, this would be really good here, but if I cover up that corner, all right, I'm just going to drop it here and I'll get the points for, you know, the bags at the bottom of the card or whatever. But yeah, no, that's you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head. And my favorite part would be the combination of how to get your points while you're playing the card itself.
I think things that I liked about it are the market. It's a very interesting mechanism in the market. There's these two markets that apply, one for the castle, and then there's the brown people.
Peasants.
I'm sorry, wait, brown cards.
Orange.
Let me say that.
They're orange.
Just saying, all the brown cards are the peasants. But there's a messenger that shifts between the top market, which is the castle cards in gray, and then the bottom market, which is the villager cards on the bottom. So there's that decision point of, okay, I want a card from this market, but now I got to spend a key to move this messenger. Is there just a better option right now with where I'm at to be able to try to make that cost-benefit analysis? It adds that decision space. It adds a fluctuating market. And then finally, I like the feel of almost like Earth, the board game Earth.
Yeah, it's very similar to that.
That playing of the cards into those slots, like you got to get them in the right spot. It can kind of move around, right, as you fill things in, right? So it's not like a grid that you're filling in like you would in Captain Flip or in Stone Spires Architects, right? Yeah. It's not like a fixed grid. You're kind of building this thing. Yes. Yeah. So it which provides interesting decisions.
Yeah, it does. Agreed.
And I don't know if anybody mentioned the back of the card, so you can always choose to just take a card off the top of the deck, play it face down, so you don't get any in-game scoring benefits for it. But if you do that, you just automatically get, I think it's 6 coins and 2 keys. And so if you're just low on resources, you want to take kind of a pass for a round, you just take one, play it face down. It does take up a spot in your 3x3 grid, but it gives you some immediate income on both the keys and the money, and you can get back so you can start buying some more interesting cards.
Kind of hard to, I think I've had to do that once or twice, and I've seen some people do it in some other games that I played, and it's kind of hard to win if you have to do that, though. If you're
it's not ideal. Yeah.
Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Aesthetics. I know that I don't think any of us have played physical copies of this, so we haven't got to feel the components. We can just talk about the artwork and the UI, like the interface of how cards get laid out. Any thoughts on aesthetics?
I think
I love. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. No, Mike, you go first. It's all good.
All right. I was just going to say, I love the artwork. It's very cartoonish, exaggerated, almost caricature type faces and characters that are on the cards. If the only like knock on the UI that I would give it is some of the iconography was not confusing, but it was like, oh, I got to reference what this means, you know? And I think after a few plays, you'd probably just get the hang of what it all meant. But it certainly wasn't one of those games where some games you can teach and the iconography is so intuitive, you know exactly what it means as soon as you see it. And there were a couple on here where it was kind of like, I'm not 100% sure what that does. But once you looked it up, you're like, okay, I guess that makes some sense. But yeah, that's it's colorful, which a lot of games nowadays tend to go towards the darker side, but this is definitely on the lighter end of things. So yeah.
Yes, I think that's my biggest like or love of this game is the artwork and the colorfulness of it. I really enjoy the playful artwork here. So huge. That's probably my biggest positive is the aesthetics of the game. I love the art. The downfall is it, like you said, those icons, and there's a lot of similar ones. And so I have multiple times been like, oh, what does that mean again? So having to reference the icons, and there's a lot of them. You know, like the I don't know what the physical sort of like player aid looks like, but even on BGA, when you open it up, you got to scroll for a ton to see all the icons.
Yeah.
And for such an icon heavy game, it's also not necessarily language independent, because you can see that like top card in the corner.
There are sentences.
They're set, you know, all players gain whatever. So it's like, if you can have that many icons, but then still be language dependent, that could be a downfall for the portability of the game across, you know, different language barriers and stuff like that. But other than that, I really do love the look and feel of the game as far as the cards and the artwork and stuff like that, though.
I agree. Artwork is cool. It's bright colors, almost pastel-y, some of the pastel colors there. The two decks well differentiated, the gray and the brown-orange color there that represent the different sides. But I think so. And again, we'll get to negatives in a minute, but kind of going into that, I agree with the other guys that the biggest hurdle to this is the iconography, learning that your first couple of games. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's not a whole lot to it. It's a deck of cards, a meeple, and then it looks like, again, I haven't played the physical version, but just seeing the pictures here, it looks like some cardboard coin tokens and some cardboard key tokens, and that's, you know, that's all there is. So,
yeah, they did a lot with that. They did a lot with that little bit.
Yeah.
What about negatives? Any thoughts on negatives? I'll lead us off. I think for me is I'm going to say this. It was because I went into it with a different expectation. This game was on the BGA Casual Games Awards nominees list, alongside things like Captain Flip, right? So it's like, wait a minute. I think Stonespire was on there. I can't remember what the other ones were, but casual. I thought casual, light, fast. And what I got was, if you want to win, you got to think for a moment. Now, if you desire to have fun over winning, the game can keep a nice pace. But if you really want to win, you're going to have to really think on what's the best decision and then where to place it, which market to buy from. So the analysis paralysis piece that can happen in our group, it can happen. Those gave me other feelings.
I'm with Carlos on that. I think the game is billed as like a 20-minute game. And if I play this game in 20 minutes, I'm happy. Right. But if it goes into 30, 40 minutes, because we're playing a 4-player game and everyone is thinking through every turn and what card's the perfect card and how can I min-max this, then it goes into the realm of it's too thinky for a light game. You know, because you can easily spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes per turn looking at all the cards, figuring out the min-max way to score. Or you can just go, I think this one's the best one, let me grab it and go. Right, so you can play this game quick. I think 4-player probably would be the slowest play of it, because you have 4 people trying to like build this 9x9 grid. So that's the only downfall, is with the icons and with the hidden thinkiness, which is a good thing for a short game. You have to be quick, and if you have a couple of players that are very AP prone, this game could drag. As far as a quick play game.
Sure. Just a comment on what you said, Carlos, as far as like it being the nominee for a light, or what was the casual game. Something just popped into my mind while you were saying that. And this falls into, I would say that this falls into a similar category of like Cascadia, or even Point Salad, where I think that casual title falls on games where it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get points at the end of the game one way or another. But the benefit of some of these games are, if you really do want to be tactful in your moves, and there is definitely some strategy that you can implement on your part to make this a deeper game than what it is. But again, regardless, you are going to get points one way or the other by the end of the game. And I think that is maybe where that casual title comes from, where it is a kind of a breezy, I'll just put this here, I'll just put this here, I got points, you know, while I'm learning
whether
the
you
game.
get keys or whether you get coins at the end of the game,
right,
it's all worth points.
You always have a backup in case you have no more resources. You can take that top deck card and, like you, like you say, get the keys and the points or your coins. But yeah, I think my negatives are already said as far as the iconography and what you said, Wayne. That kind of like, yeah, why didn't they do enough iconography where it could be language independent? That was kind of, and it wouldn't take very much more than what they've already got in there. So, but
uppermost, anyway. Leftmost, rightmost, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Yep.
All right. In summary, thoughts. My initial thoughts after just a few plays is this is a try. It's definitely not a deny. It's definitely not a deny. There's a good game here. It's just, does it fit a niche for your collection and your game group, where it's kind of in between that light and fast and thinky game. For me, it's a try.
I agree. Try for me as well. I definitely don't say it's a must buy, but I definitely don't. I wouldn't say deny either. It's going to have its market. It's been fairly hot, so it's been kind of a lot of people have been playing it recently. I've been seeing it pop up in a lot of reviews and things. It is definitely, like I say, that it's a positive for me. The thinkiness that it's considered kind of a casual, quicker, lighter game. But for me, my quick light games are 30, 40 minutes, compared to the 2, 3, 4 hour games, that I play sometimes. So this is gives me the, a thinkiness enough to keep me engaged. But I definitely can see where with the wrong crowds, AP could kick in and this could turn into an hour long game. And I don't want that out of this. I mean, 30 minutes, maybe 35. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a try for me. And funny thing is, I almost bought this game today from one of the Seattle board game sellers group. He had a copy new and shrink for $20, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that would be nice for $20."
That's not a bad deal.
Yeah. Not a bad deal at all. But then I was just thinking, you got plenty of games. Let's get through the ones you got first, and then we can. Now if it was like $10. It'd be like an insta buy for me. $10 is like, but 20,
Yeah, I think that's what it is too. Is like you have to look at sometimes it's a little skewed because like we're content creators, but really we're all big gamers and we have big game collections, right? And so I'm not really looking to buy new games. So in order for me to buy a new game, it's got to really blow me away. So a lot of these beans that we do are going to be mostly tries, and this one's a try for me as well. Like, so I will play this anytime, like any game day.
Oh yeah,
at a con, or
I would be happy to play it.
I'm happy to play it, right? So that it's kind of like leans more towards buy than try. I just wouldn't buy it because it doesn't wow me enough to warrant a spot in my collection. As far as that, it's definitely a good game, but it has to hit that 30 minutes or less, or then it would be. I think it would get stale. So
there we go, Castle Combo.
There's another Beans, brought to you by the Beans and Dice podcast.